multi-pass. All right, let's get into it. Welcome every that's back. Let me actually post this in have you start revenge trading. Nice. Tommy, what's going on, man? Uh Fantastic this morning. Good to hear. Good to hear. Patrick, good morning. All right, so first let's get into the market real quick and let's do a little bit of a review on the plan from last night and then how today went. Um, as we can see here, and actually one thing I wanted to do, I think you guys have to tell me. Let's see. I think if we change this background to a bit lighter gray, right? Should be a little bit easier to see, I think, when we're zoomed out, because when we're zoomed out, it's hard to see. But yesterday we had basically talked about how we were in a chop zone, right? We had said that we expected some support down here from the 50s down to 40, right? We never actually got down there. The overnight low really just kind of capped off, and I'll expand it real quick so you can really see how it went. It put in, some excess pretty much right off the open, popped up. We had talked about while the market was in here that the you know the market looked like it was going to start trending up. Um, I think the number I had posted in the trade plan was 90. Clipper, what's up, man? Was 90 to 4,200. And if we got above that, then I thought that we were probably had good odds to run to this 4,250. We ended up coming up all the way to that 42.65 today, or well, a little bit higher today, but overnight that high was 42.65. So I, had an alarm set. If we got up to that 42.90, that's where I wanted to wake up and start to keep trading. Um, Sometimes, especially lately, these Globex moves have really been taking the moves out of us, right? We can see the settle in the last trade down here, depending upon who you ask, right? If you ask Jim Dalton, this wouldn't have been a gap. If you ask Peter Rezenchek, right? Peter goes from the close or the settle to the open, and so he would consider this an intraday gap. Not really a gap that he would carry forward, but just a gap that he would keep in mind throughout the day. Morning, Andy. Uh, Trading light? What is that? I'm not sure. I could ask my all about trading light. Oh, it's like a bookmap thing? No, I don't think it's really that necessary. I think it's a little bit too much information for shorter time frame traders like I am. I think it does help scalpers, and I think if you're a fast trader and you can be in and out, then that bookmap can be beneficial for you. But if you're more looking for a move trade, which is typically what I'm looking for like the move. Um, you know, it's trading light is bookmap, yeah. Um, but anyways, so back to the market. So on the open, we can see we had pretty much a little bit of back and forth. The open was up here at 54. The market hung out above it if you were watching in the A period. or below it, I mean, in the A period, kind of just ranging back and forth, really trying to figure it out. And then finally had this break up. And then we had talked about the C high was a couple ticks short of the B high, and the C low was a couple ticks short of the um, B half back. And so we had said that it's very mechanical, and there's good odds that the market tends to fix those, right? Not necessarily saying that it's going to happen in the next period or the next, couple of minutes, but just good odds that the market is going to fix those things, right? Um, and C pumped up, D came down, so now it's fixed, and now we're basically right back where we were at, right? Right above the open in this 60 range. Um, the market really needs to, if it wants to get any gas, it's going to have to take out that PDH, right? The prior day high. Um, little bit short here. It looks like we had some good volume, so there was some good volume coming in up at the top. So some people are interested in competing in the auction up here, but we have these single prints, and then we have this huge row of single prints, this excess, right? Typically when we see these big excesses, and like we said yesterday, this is just was or 2 days ago, this was just a big liquidation. This typically doesn't hold and weakens the market. And as we keep going up, right, we still have that gap above. So these are all just things that we need to keep in mind, right, as we go forward throughout the day. If we take a peek at value, we can see yesterday's value overlapping to lower, and today's value is gapping higher, right? You can see this A low didn't even return back into yesterday's value area, came back to that point of control a little bit below it, and then started moving on up. And this D session actually stopped our one time framing to the upside, but didn't really make any significant moves towards the downside. Um, and so we're kind of back in that chop zone, right? I think from about that 50 area, which was our target, to about, I mean, really until we can get above this prior day high. Until we get above that 75, I'm really cautious on both sides. I don't think there's a lot of support, as overnight traders brought the market up. Typically tend to be weaker handed traders. We're getting ready to see the London close here in about 7 minutes or 6 minutes now. So we could see them liquidate and cause this pullback. Today, our flip zone, especially for now, is going to be the open. If we get below the open, I'm start leaning towards the short side and looking more for that overnight point of control, and then to clean up, you know, these single prints from overnight. But on the other hand, we are getting value higher, and I'm not going to fight value getting higher. So unless we do break the open with some tempo and start to see some volume come into the low side, I'm not just going to pile onto the shorts. If we pull over Think or Swim just to get a more general picture of the market, you can see information technologies up, healthcare is down, consumer discretionary, communication services, financials, industrials are green. So consumer staples and healthcare are looking red. You can see the breadth is very positive, right? A lot of buying in the Nasdaq, a lot of buying on the New York Stock Exchange. The buying today, weighted, is a little bit weak, right? A lot of buying in the NYSE, which makes sense because we saw the weakness yesterday out of the NYSE, and that actually ended up dragging the market down. What is interesting here, and this is on a 5 minute, but if we switch this to a 30 minute, you can still see these cumulative ticks are one time framing lower. And if we look at the market, that's definitely not happening for the market. So that's an interesting divergence that we definitely want to take an account of, right? It does seem to show us that we are getting some selling, and maybe that buying was a little bit weaker and got a little bit too far extended. Now it needs to come back, right? Not saying that it can't continue up, just something to take a peek at. Take a peek over at Apple. Apple's up 2%, Microsoft 3%, Google 3%. Tesla's another 3%. Nvidia 5%. Facebook 3%. Right. So we've got some big names. Visa's up 2.5%. JP Morgan's up almost 5%. Bank of America is up. I think this is Bank of America. Bank of Bank of America is up 6%. Right. So we've got some decent sized names, and this is just the top 100 stocks in the S&P. We take a peek at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq's up 2.5%. The Dow is up almost 2%. The Russell's up almost 3%. Look at Bitcoin with that 10% gain. We'll take a peek at that Bitcoin chart here pretty soon. We talked about it yesterday about this breakout that was coming. So hopefully, for those of you guys that were tuned into the stream or in the Zoom, nailed that. The VIX, right? We've got the VIX up here. We can see the VIX just kind of trailing down. I talked about this mark yesterday when we were in the trade, when we had put this high mark. If we got above that, we could expect some serious downside. We've never gotten above it, and we're back down about 30 to the 32, bringing us down about 7% on the VIX, right? And TLT is also dropping. One more thing too, bonds are also taking a bit of a move down. Right, bonds gapped lower. Now on to Bitcoin. Yesterday we had talked about how if we were able to get above, well, we were actually talking about, well, at the time we were actually talking about these levels here. We saw that little peak above, we pulled back right to the VWAP and then really started to make our move. We talked about how there was resistance here, this kind of resistance inside of this lower balance zone. And a talk, if we can get above this 43, there's a good chance that we head straight up to these 45,000s. Right? This is such a nice number that it makes sense to go visit it. Right? It's like going to Disneyland. Like, oh, 45,000? Yeah, I don't mind if I do. How's the sound good? Or how's the sound good? How's it sound good? Does it sound good? Trin, good morning. Chris, good morning. Burrito, whoa.
Good to me.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. So, any questions before, well, not really before, we already started. Any questions at all? Sound good as heck. That's because I slept in today. So I stayed up so late. Remember, we've got CPI tomorrow. And so if any of you guys want to jump on the computer at 5:30 with me, I will be on trading, or maybe trading. Will depends on the reaction, right? You can't just say you're gonna trade. You never know. But trading that, looking for opportunity within that report to come out. Can you explain what you showed? Showed you the breakout for potentials on a BTC? Yeah, of course. So, but I was looking at this. Oops. So you guys know how with crypto, I tend to be, where's the D? The D open is up at 69. 4269. But you guys know how I tend to be either a mean reversion trader or a breakout trader when it comes to crypto, right? Because crypto tends to run. What happens is, I mean, and not as much lately because I feel like the crypto community has kind of died down a little bit as far as YouTube and social media goes. I really just haven't been seeing a lot of crypto posts lately. Maybe it's my fault I stopped and everyone's like, well, fuck, I can't just go dislike his video. I'm not even going to get online. But there has been 75% less volume, in the past year or this year compared to last year with crypto. And so when we get some things starting to break out, it'll hit Twitter or it'll hit Instagram or it'll hit something, right? Because somebody is trading it, and then everyone will pile on, right? And this is pretty much how every crypto works because everyone has seen people get rich off Doge and I mean all of these other things, but they tend to just momentum trade. Most of them are momentum traders, right? They pile on because they're wanting to go to the moon. And so, we take advantage of that here, just trading the breakouts on crypto. I've had great success with trading breakouts on crypto, and there's no reason to stop until the bigger names start to get into crypto. And as we saw today, Biden talked about, looking into it, looking into the dangers of it, and then possibly making a digital currency for the United States, right? End of time, biblical type stuff. Me and Alex were talking about it earlier. But basically, what we have here is you have this kind of balance zone, right? This 4-day balance, and then you just have a seller just smacking it down every time it comes up, smacking it down, right? And so what that is just a bunch of stops, right? And so, like I've said before, is you've got all these momentum traders or people watching it, and they're seeing, okay, Bitcoin's going down, Bitcoin's down, Bitcoin's down. And they're seeing lower low, lower low, lower low, and they're thinking to themselves, oh, must this thing must be about to break down. So they're getting short. They're this is where retails are getting short, right? And this guy that's been short is probably short from up here and is just covering. Every time we get low, he covers, we bounce up. He gets low, he covers, he bounce up. We get low, he covers, he bounce up. And this is basically his capitulation point where he's like, okay, I've made some profit, but this is where my last stop loss is. If it gets there, goes up, and it runs through. And so you have all of these. Let me change this. You have all of these stops from people, which are buy stops, right? Because if you sell something, you're going to buy it back. So these are buy stops up here. Same thing on the low. So if you sell something, you're going to buy it back either lower or buy it back higher. Either way, you're going to buy it back. So right here, they're buying this back, and then you've got momentum because this first bar right here cracked what 40K. Everybody on Twitter and Instagram was like, "Oh shit, Bitcoin's at 40K, buy it." They jump on and then boom, right? So it was a combination of hitting this breakout zone because there was uh, a lot of opportunity for capitulation from the people that were short, and then also I expected the psychology of the crypto world to pile on um, as they have in the past, right? Like I said, I really look into history when it comes to trading because typically the market repeats itself. It does trade in patterns, right? And if you're able to identify some of these patterns and set yourself up for success. Every human is a very um, habitual creature and creatures of habit, as they say, and it's a tough time to break or tough thing to break habits. You know what I mean? If you have a habit that you've wanted to break for a long time and you've struggled with breaking it, just think about that. Well, think about all these people that have been trading momentum trading Bitcoin for 2 years now. It's going to be a hard habit
And
not to break.
DEX is coming up.
Oh yeah. If we can get that prior day, that's going to be their target. They need to take that prior day high and try to fill. Excuse me. Try to fill this upper distribution. Midweek reversal happens on Thursday. Um, I don't know. It depends on that report, to be honest. It really does. The CPI number this week is not going to be as important as it is going to be next week, and so that can be, could be a nothing, a big old waste of getting up early. Could be, that's just how it goes. Um, but you're definitely not going to see any opportunity if you're not there. And honestly, on days when the CPI comes out, even if you're not going to trade until the market opens, or even if you don't trade until, let's say, after the first hour, um, when the market starts to cool down, you want to see that report because based off of how it's trading from where the report came out is going to be very beneficial towards your trading plan intraday. pattern that I see is a lot more in depth than how. Yeah. Well, and when I say patterns, I don't mean like bull flag, bear flag. I'm talking patterns in trading psychology. I'm talking um, understanding who my competitors are. And okay, you get okay. But today the title of the stream is how to stop using your stop loss as a crutch. So let's get into that real quick as the ES just can't take the high and coming back into the mean. We're just getting a bunch of crap, right? And this is why I'm very cautious here, because if we're building all this volume up here and can't continue up higher, well, downside seems inevitable, right? Let's take a peek at the question. What did you regarding C? Oh, okay, Clipper. So basically, when we're looking at the futures market, we're seeing some mechanical references, right? And at the time, because B halfback, my halfback is represented by these little pink squares, squaring off some of the individual T, right? And the C low was one tick below, and then at the time, the C high was one tick below the B high. And so this is a mechanical reference telling you that shorter time frame traders are just selling off a very visual reference, right? They see this B high, or they see a high, depending upon what chart they're looking at, and that's where they're selling it off of, right? They're selling it down, and they were just buying it off of that B halfback. So it's very mechanical, and typically, mechanical traders are weaker handed traders and don't have the capital to push the market around, and so they look for these references, mechanical references, to trade off of to scalp. And so when we trade back towards them, so I'm not saying it's always going to trade back towards it, but the good odds when this D period was coming down that it would trade through the C low because of how mechanical it was. That's basically all that is. Um, and those are the kind of trades that I like to go after, because I like to go after those mechanical traders, because they're for the most part weaker handed traders. Do I do mostly swing trades? No. Oh, okay. Some stock options I'll swing. Um, Sometimes I'll swing a couple future contracts depending upon what I got going on, but um, not not normally. Especially now with the market the way it is, I'm not really a huge fan of not being able to watch my trades, because it can just wake up and then the market can be 2% higher. Let's say you got short yesterday, um, or you're swinging short yesterday, and then you wake up and the market's 2% higher. That's not going to be a great feeling. So once the market cools down a little bit during the summer, I think it'll be more beneficial to swing trade, or it might be more opportunity to swing trade. But until then, with the market giving us the moves that it's giving us intraday, you can make your money throughout the day and then sleep peacefully. That's what I'm all about. VIX is still coming down. Market's just pumping. I mean, the overall market, at least our top names are looking good. We did have the cessation of one time framing on the tick here, right? So we did see some buying come in and break this kind of one time framing down on the tick. That's a little bit of a good sign for this. Exactly, Clipper. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of times what that's representing, when things are at a very mechanical reference, a very visual reference, it's poor structure. Or a lot of times um it will be poor structure for the market, and the market naturally wants to continue higher But if it has poor structure, it definitely has to finish that. Look at the yeah, so we're about 12% less volume right now than we were yesterday. But so let's get into the title real quick. I know I keep getting distracted, but so you've been using water for long, just about it. I've been using it for a while now. Um, Mine's a little bit different than how Peter has his setup, right? He uses just 4 boxes. I have this one set up so I can see the cumulative tick in every uh indice, right? Because if I'm getting on a long trade and I'm seeing buying in every sector, it gives me just a little bit more confidence. Not that I'm looking to make sure all of these are green, but it is something that I do like to glance at, right? And we can see here the Dow is heading on screen now. The Dow is below the zero line, the Nasdaq's below the zero line, the S&P is below the zero line, right? So you're getting a lot of buying into the Russell, a lot of strong buying into the Russell, but not very much into the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow. It's more of these heavy weighted stocks that are kind of popping us up. And if we up this, you can see where the most green is on all these big sectors, right? These are up, but just not very much, and energy is kind of getting beat up today. Um, I know another one that people are watching is LMT. I haven't taken a peek at it today for Jared. What's coming back up above 450. Um, all right. So let's say your yeah, but Otto, I recommend. I mean, anything that Peter makes or Peter puts out, I think is gold. He's really really smart. And I trust him. So I he pay you can pay like $50 a month to be in his options room to learn about options. Um, if you I think it's $25 to be a member for Shadow Trader a month, and then you get access to all of those cool think or swim script codes. All right, so let's say we're looking for a trade here, right? And we like this trade. We're going to get long here. Our stop is just going to go here, and we're looking to take profit here. So what I mean by stop using your stop loss as a crutch, let's say this pops up, okay, and we start to hang here. All right, well, we're long from 72. This thing's kind of just hanging here above the prior day high. And we're like, okay, as long as it stays above the prior day high, we'll put our stop loss here. So stop loss moves up to here, price is up here. We're still looking for this 80, right? We're trying to capture about an 8-point move. We move our stop loss to here, and it's 78, 77, 78, 77. Then all of a sudden, boom, flushes, hits our stop, right? And then as soon as it hits our stop, it turns back up. The thing about using your stop like this is it gives you the luxury of not having to take accountability for what's going on, right? You just put your stop there and you're like, yeah, if it hits the stop, it hits the stop, no big deal, right? What I want you guys to start doing with these trades is if you get in a trade and you're up, 5, 6 points, and you put your stop here, and that's going to cap you out at 3 points. Well, the difference between 3 points and 6 points is 100% difference, right? Or 100% gain. If you would have got 6 points, that's 100% more than 3 points. So that's how I want you to think about it. 100%. You're giving up 100% of your trade. You're giving up 100% gain to just take this loss. So when you're in a trade, you need to be constantly analyzing that trade, and if it starts to get weak, then just cut it, right? Stop letting your stop loss dictate your position. Does that make sense? it takes
Describe the last 3 months of my trading.
it takes away the opportunity to gain, but what it also does is it takes away your ability to grow, right? Because I'm a big advocate for journaling, right? I probably should have a sponsorship from a journal, a trading journal by now. But you're getting in this trade here. If it's coming up here and it's not getting continuation, especially when we have this distribution up here, let's say, you can see this dotted pink line is where the single prints will be filled, from 3 days ago, I believe they are now. But if it gets up there and it can't fill it, well then don't let it come back down, hoping that eventually it's going to come back up. Even if your stop loss is still down here and you're sitting in a trade that's ranging 5 points, cover some profit already, right? If you're looking for the move, you want to get in the trade when the move's getting ready to go. If you wanted to gamble every day on making a couple of profits, well then just buy it once it builds value. If price comes back down into here, buy it, right? And then just hope that it goes up. That's what a lot of other people are doing, right? That's what there's value here. Let me just buy this. Let me buy this. Let me buy this, right? And then if it goes up, they're like, I'm a genius. And it goes down, they're like, oh shit, let me buy more. And we saw that yesterday, right? And that was that late day liquidation break. From, did I combine these back? Yeah, here it is. This late day liquidation break, we've got overextended. We had fixed all those weak references from the previous day. This H high stopped right at the D high, right? Very mechanical, but we weren't able to get any higher. And then the market started to turn down quick. Putin had put out that he's not going to be exporting anything. There was a big rally as the market got a little bit too short. And then, people were still trying to buy this dip and got caught. And then that's where that late day liquidation rally. And then combined with a bunch of people pouring on, we had this overnight kind of squeeze. London squeezed the market up. So one thing that I really want to stress is just yeah, definitely take profit, because honestly, I think if you were to track all of your trades and look at the ones that you took profit on, what you would consider early, and the only way that you're going to be able to do this is if you're journaling, right? Because it's impossible to remember every single trade from every previous day, all of these things. And as you get more competent and more successful at trading and a better understanding, I'd like to thank Moleskin for sponsoring today's episode. Is there ads? There shouldn't be ads. Just want but as you start to get more successful and you're feeling more confident, then you can start to give yourself some room. But if you're that confident in this trade, right, and this is where it comes into hitting some of these bigger moves, you get in here at the 70, or let's just say, yeah, the 70. We're looking for the 80, looking to fill that. Our stop loss is going to go here, which is at 65. So you're giving yourself a 5-point stop, 10-point gain. We're at a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, right? If price gets to 77 and you move your stop to 75, well, yeah, you're locking in a couple of points of profit, but you're also changing your risk to reward factor, right? And on this one, you're locking in profit, so it's going to work. But by doing this, you're basically kind of telling yourself like, oh, I'm not confident in the trade anymore, or I made some profit, so I have to take it, right? And so when you're looking for bigger moves or on this runner, let's say you got in here and you got in with 2 lots, and the first one you're just looking for this E high, it takes that E high, so you've got 1 lot left and this is your spot. Well then, yeah, that's a time to start covering covering the downside, right? That's when you don't want to let a winning trade turn into a loser. But also, this trade is up here and it's kind of just bouncing around, and you're moving your stop up to make sure that you secure profit, and it starts to be weak, take profit, right? And if it goes without you, guess what? There'll be another one, right? There's always another one. Cut the trade if it can't break up or down. How long would you? I just look for rotation, right? So when I'm looking for these moves, depending upon um, the tempo of the market, right? The tempo is very slow today. Range is very small today compared to previous days. But if we get a break of this prior day high, right? I want to see this thing run to this 80-50 pretty much right away. And if it starts to show weakness, I just want to get out. I don't want to sit around and wait for it, because what's probably going to happen, it's going to start to rotate, and it's going to rotate back. I'm going to be able to lock in profit. It comes back to the impulse, which is going to be this previous day high. I might have a chance to lock in another trade there with a tight stop right below to take another trade. So it really does come with time and kind of that feeling, but it's just like I said. That's why I recommend, like, everyone just take profit off the beginning. Don't be looking for these 10-point, 20-point moves. Take your 2 points and be happy with it, right? If the market keeps going without you, there'll be time once you start successfully hitting these shorter trades or these smaller trades. The bigger trades are just going to come with ease, right? Because some people, a lot of people, and ask Warren Buffett, right? His trading style is just to buy and hold forever, and hopefully that whatever he buys will go up. Or it's worked, but that's not what we're doing here. We're trading. That's an investing. People call it trading, but it's an investor's mentality, and I'm not knocking it at all, right? Obviously, he's a fucking genius. So. We are seeing very, very light volume though compared to yesterday. Does that make sense though, Double R? Oh, and what else would I look for to spot weakness? Typically, just no continuation, right? So on a retrace, when we have these kind of pullbacks, and this is on a 2-tick increment, right? So they're a little bit pulled in together, right? 2 ticks for every one tick on price movement. When it comes down, let's say, you won't get things like this, right? See this big spike in volume? Well, this is telling us somebody stepped up, started buying right here. Boom, so they bought. Oh, I got in a trade, by the way. I guess you can see it on this. Just a little one lot. I wanted to see it go. We see if we can take this prior day high. But I don't know what that is showing on. Oh, there we go. I want you guys to get distracted from buying just because I'm buying. Remember, I'm not always right. But so like right now, right? So I'm long right here, and we're just kind of flirting with my entry. My entry's right here, 72 order, and we're not getting any follow through. So I want to see these buyers step up. I want to see some of this volume coming in up here, and we are. We are seeing a little bit of volume coming up here. Got 350 contracts traded on that top tick. in reality 54 on the top tick, 296 on that second tick. But still, good volume is coming up higher, and we're seeing some good buying going on. So I like to just sit here. The tempo is a little bit slower, but there is some opportunity here. Run straight to it. So you see that we're not getting any pullback. We're getting some volume coming in. Good buying. Keep it going. There and close those singles. Sometimes you gotta cheer on the market, guys. Pat on the back. We're back testing this weak volume right here. See that 300? Buyer step up again from the impulse zone, which is the C high. That's the impulse. They're still pouring in. But we're getting some weakness here. This 400, this lonely 400, I'm not a huge fan of that. Only 43 contracts traded on that top tick. I'd like to see some more buying come in. Seeing a little bit of selling up here on the 75, and you're starting to see some sellers form up here on the 42.70. Trying to flex their gun. Looks pretty. See that volume? Boom, 1,000 increase. Buyers are stepping up here. They need to hold it above this prior day high. Over here. You can see him stepping up. Terrible day for you, Alex? Yeah, Tommy, it is super. You know what I want to um what I'm gonna put together a class for so we can go over it as a group is identifying the trend and trading with it. I think that might be everyone's biggest issue is trend identification and trading with the trend. And that's a tough thing because as humans we see things, we see things up high, we're like, oh, let's short. See things down low, let's buy. And we run into these issues where we're always trying to get a deal, right? We're always trying to do something special and be like, look, I bought the bottom, I'm a genius, right? Well, no one gives a fuck, to be honest with you. um you know unless you predict something like the global housing crisis, Michael Burry, nobody's going to give a shit. And even if you do, if you don't trade it, nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? Because anyone can say it. You know, we've been talking about this pullback since December. Well, since December, and how I thought the beginning of the year was going to bring us some downside, right? And I wasn't the only one that was expecting that. There was a lot of people, and a lot of people probably positioned a lot better than me to capitalize on it. Um, so I think we get trapped in our own minds trying to be right so much that we forget about what we're actually doing, right? And this is a business. We're running a business here, a business for ourselves, a job where this is going to allow us to not have to go to work. And that's my goal, is to never leave my house if I don't have to. Exactly. I don't even know who posted that, but scroll up. I can see the whole double R. Yeah, fucking genius. I'm glad. And you know what? Shout out to Chirp because that's actually where I got the idea because I read his posts every day. He posts every single day about his trades, right? I think he works and so he normally trades before the market opens. He is on the East Coast too. But where the fuck? Can't find one of these arrows. Oh, here it is. Yeah, he posts his trades every single day. So today he had 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 point, and I'm sharing his trade online, but he'll be fine. He took 3 trades, 2 wins, 1 loss. He finished up 4 and 3/4 points. He was up 7.25 on the first 2 trades. First for a full 20. Second one he cut at 9 ticks. Third he got stopped out at 10 ticks, right? So he was trying to look to capture the first move. But if you're up, well, it might have been 3 different trades too. But that's a perfect situation, you know. If you're up on the day, so he's up 20 ticks, so that's 4 points. Then he's up another 9 ticks, so that's what's that? 4, 5, 6, 6.25 points right there, and you know, ended up losing 10, so not too bad, and it's a good job to cut it off. But you know, he could have, possibly cut that at break even. I'm not sure the exact trade placements or anything like that, so that no way um that I could talk about it. I was hoping that he would be on today so I could talk to him about it. But yeah, that's where I got the idea. I was reading that this morning and I was thinking, you know what? That's a great thing to talk about today. Well, that's the thing, Alex, is like, so let's say if um if you, well, I mean, you had opportunity because it did come back to the H high. Actually came back down to that C high where that 511 contracts is at. It came right down to here to the 74, which is a little bit below that H high. And so there was an opportunity to get back in there. I got in here 72/4.
That's where I got stopped out.
Oh, it came down, stopped you out, and then went.
Yeah.
Where'd you get in at?
Oh, I don't even remember. It was earlier. It was when it broke out earlier, like half an hour earlier or something, 20 minutes earlier, something like that.
But did you get? I mean, did you get stopped out in profit
It
then?
was breaking down. Huh?
You got stopped out in profit?
No.
Oh,
No, I lost. Man, I'm down 20 points today.
oh shit. Kevin McCarthy on Ukraine no-fly zone. If America goes out and does a no-fly zone, we're entering the ability to enter into a war. That would have to raise the question that would have to be debated in Congress. So I think that would be a real challenge for us right now. Um, I would have to see where your entry was at. You caught it like during the E breakout though. So if you scroll down under the 10K challenge, and there's a thing called accountability corner, he posts in there every single day. And I mean, honestly, like if that's the way that you're going to journal, that's a great way to journal because it's going to be there every single day. Yeah, you'll scroll back and find it. Um, but you're doing it, and that's the first step. And he also puts a little like a little paragraph of how, like, what happened in it too, which I really like.
was in the D.
Oh, you got long in D.
Yeah, because it broke out, and then it came immediately back down. I'm not sure if you were looking at the chart back then. Maybe it was C even. Hang on. Actually, I'm trying to look at my chart.
Yeah, C was that initial breakout.
Yeah, it was C.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when that. Yeah, so something like that when it's breaking out and when it's breaking above the previous session or the previous TPO and it doesn't go to the next reference. So if we crunch this up. But when it doesn't immediately start to build towards that next reference. So in this case, when that C period broke above B, the only next reference besides this point of control, which it was already above, was the Globex high, and it just died. Right, this thing popped up, and I was actually watching during C period. It got no volume in there, and then kind of died. And then we also had that mechanical low. So I think the C period was more of just a break of these mechanical sellers just basically giving up, and then that D period came and fixed that bottom. So when this happens, and let's say you get long in the breakout of B, when you start to see, we got what's that, 72 to about 75. So within a couple of points of it, when it's just kind of stops right there, that's when you've just got to be like, all right, that was it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know when I should have cut my trade, but I'm wondering because you got in at a particular point and it was a good decision, and that was what my question was about. It seems like by the time we are confirming that this is, we're going to be continuing to go up, you have already entered a trade 10 minutes previously, like you did in this trade.
Yeah, so I mean that just comes with experience though. That's really just because I've been watching these charts like a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been watching these charts for 7 years, so I don't know.
But not the TPO though. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
takes time to get used to the TPO. I mean, but I think that that trade that you took was a good trade. I mean, yeah, it might have been a losing trade. But were most of your trades short trades today?
No, actually, I think they were long.
So if most of your trades were long trades today and you're down 20 points, then your issue is most likely entries. And so what I would do is go back to your
I only made 4 trades. I didn't cut my trade. The one I lost.
Oh, there was a big loser in there.
Yeah, there was a big loser in there.
Oh, okay. I mean, honestly, like I think if you were trading long today, then you were on the right side of the trades, and if they lost or if they won, the first step is identifying where value is going, and value is definitely seeking higher here. And I think lose not I don't even think I know losing is part of this racket, and most people in your situation P&L wise today, like I bet if we were to take a poll of other people that are down 20 points right now, the reason that they're down 20 points is because they were shorting this whole thing, right?
Actually, I made 5 trades. I went short once, and I won that one trade.
So you're breaking the mold here.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think you're on the right track, man. I really do. You've actually been doing really. Today's probably this is like your first bad day in a while, I think.
No, not really. Not really. I mean, this week, this is my first bad day, but
So yeah. I mean,
anyway.
I wish I could give you something more, but it's really just like it comes with like a feeling of it. I saw the opportunity and just everything was kind of lining up, and just went with it. And I mean, like, I'll show you guys like all the screens that I'm looking at. Like this is what I'm paying attention to uh the most. Watch, let me switch my zoom. You guys on YouTube are fucked. You're not. So here's screen 2. I have the same exact chart that's up there, my TPO here. And then if I blop this out, I have a range chart so I can see rotation. Mostly I'm not really getting into any of those until I am like in the trade because I want to see where the buyers are stepping. This gives me a little bit more zoom. And then on other screen like this, I'm just looking at the DOM here. Just to see where the orders are trading. Others.
You don't look at the DOM anymore, though, right? You don't really watch it.
I don't use it to trade. I watch it. I watch it when I'm in a trade. That's when I like to zoom in on things. But no, it's just off to the left. Yeah, it's not. If you just stare at it, I think it'll mislead you so much.
Is that where you enter your trades?
No, no, I just right click on my chart and then like press buy limit. And then I have this on the other screen. Of course, the other screen is for the You've noticed a big improvement in since you started journaling? Yeah, of course, because you can back test your data, back test against yourself, and the only way to improve is to see where you started. And I think that was a big thing. I can't remember who said it. Um, but in trading, I mean in life in general, but in trading, there's a big comparison. Everyone wants to compare themselves to this person or compare themselves to that person. Oh, I'm a better trader than this person. I'm a better trader than that person. Um, but none of that shit matters, right? You know what matters is if you are getting better, right? If the version of you from yesterday is better than the version of you today, why? You should, be improving yourself every day. But there's not going to be any way to do that if you're not journaling, right? If you think that bodybuilders just get the 2% body fat because they just know what to eat and they don't count their calories and write all that shit down, you're just fucking hitting yourself, you know? You think professional athletes aren't measuring how high they jump today, I mean, just everything. There's so much psychology that goes into humans, and humans are the ones who trade this, right? Yeah, there is a lot of automation, but there hasn't been a system that's automated that is guaranteed to make money in any type of market. Yeah, there is some things that work great when the market's trending. There is some things that work great in a range bound market, but these are algorithms that are, computing so many things, and they're wrong a lot of the time. And we see it all the time with all these liquidations. The market gets itself a little bit too long trying to pile in and then get a little dumperooski. Pushing out. Yeah, definitely. So the biggest thing with um the biggest thing with Bitcoin or with crypto in general is it really does like to trend, or it does like to break out and really like to just start going in whatever direction. Um, and so I noticed that early on with crypto, and that's basically all I traded was breakouts. Because especially the past 2 years, you guys have seen pretty much every crypto just fucking sky. So I'm just trading breakouts, and I got a lot of grief from it in private messages on Discord actually, saying like you don't know what you're doing, you're just buying breakouts and blah 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 blah. Um, you know, whatever. If it's working, it's working, right? And when it stops working, and it obviously has stopped working, I mean, it worked yesterday, but it's not been working as frequently because the market has pulled back a bit, right? So you had to start going back to some of these mean reversion trades. The big difference with crypto also is that it trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there's no shutdown, there's no settlement. Like if we go to Bitcoin futures, right? You can see the breakout still happened, and you can see some of the Globex here. See if I can pull it up on here. We can. I don't know if I even pull it up. I think it is a CME future contract. Are we on March contract? All right, be careful here. So this will break it down, our TPO into and we're gonna have to change. Okay, and yeah, we're on 10. We're on 10 ticks here. So but so this is Bitcoin futures, right? This is only trading the Bitcoin futures on the U.S. market. The difference is over here, you've got the Asia session or the Australia session leading into the Asia session, leading into the London session, then leading into the US session. So you've got a global market really trading this, whereas the ES futures, a lot of the rest of the world, in order to trade the cash session of the ES futures, it's either going to be late at night for them or really, really early in the morning for them, unless they're in the US. So it makes it a lot more difficult because, I mean, let's let's disinclude recently, right? But most of the time, Globex is pretty low and slow, right? Low volume, slow moving, dry, not very fun to trade unless you're ready to just kind of sit there and watch that paint dry and then put another coat on and watch that coat dry and then rinse and repeat. But when we're trading these uh, Bitcoin futures, you start to see some of these gaps that you don't really see on a chart like this one is. Um, but you don't really see it. You don't really see any of these gaps on a regular Bitcoin chart from Bybit or Binance or anything like that. And so you can kind of see where the actual strength is buying, because if people are trading futures on it, and these Bitcoin futures are not cheap to trade, I'll tell you that right now. For the people that are trading on them, and you can see how thin they are. Look at this, 15 contracts down. Not much going on to propel this thing to the upside. Um, you don't get that break, and that break tells us a lot of information as far as where everyone was, what the mission of the day was, right? But with crypto, you get people, let's say we run up all day, and then, I mean, for a while back, it was almost the easiest trade in the world, 5 p.m. Pacific every single day, just get short on Bitcoin because Asia's going to sell this fucking thing down, right? So there's a lot of other variables, but ultimately everything for me leads back to understanding value, right? At the very basic common core is understanding where value is going. And that's the way that I want to trade. And then understanding a little bit more with crypto about momentum traders and how um popular it is, right? It's kind of like the Robin Hood thing. Like, I mean, some of these stocks, I mean, look at this. Like, we go back to some of these things, you look at GameStop, and I mean, like, holy shit, look at this thing. It looks like a crypto. I mean, we see a lot of cryptos like this, right? Might not have went to 480, but you know, I mean, look at Soul. Right? Oh, I mean, pretty similar chart if I'm not lying. You know what I mean? Um, and this is caused by human psychology, not evaluation or anything crazy like that, right? We're starting to see Soul realize that it's true value. And so, you know, that's what I'm focused on uh all the time really, is just focused on understanding where value is at and how to capitalize on change of value. That's true. Great. Does that help, Clipper? Sierra charts really didn't take really wasn't that hard to. It was kind of a pain in the ass first starting out, but Sierra charts. Sierra charts has probably one of the best user guides on. Just type anything in you want into Google if you can't find something, and it is probably. So we take a peek at this F, right? For me, this typically tends to be very mechanical reference. Just happens to be right at that C high. That's kind of right at a failed breakout level. You know, I think that they probably come back down and test this 4270. See if this guy still wants to buy. And if not, you know, pretty thin volume up here, even though we have spent a lot of time comparative to early on in the session where all the volume's at, like 22,000, got 4,000 up here. We're not really seeing like we did yesterday. We saw big splurts of volume increase. And if we take a peek, if you guys go to Jim Dalton's website, go to the resources, click NYSE volume. He has this, I don't know where this data comes from. I probably should have asked him, but to go to the website. About 13% less volume than the previous day. Twitter really needs to like auto scroll. They need to get something that auto scrolls. Zelensky says only direct contact between presidents can end war. Wants to fight Putin in the streets one on one. So here they go. They fixed that kind of mechanical reference. Let's see if they can get down to the 70. It didn't look like they could, right? You kind of saw some reactive buying down there. That ding noise, well, I don't know if you heard it, but I heard it, is telling us. Heard of this? Telling us that oil. I have this thing, and it's just based off of a scan that I do. But we've got 6R, CLH, and CLM24. So these are these are far out oil contracts. So let's take a peek at this. DLH. Let's go. The H contract is, and it's telling me that this is a buy. H contracts at 86. Opportunity there. And then the same thing with the M contract in 2024. If it's just a scan that I do for things that are getting a little bit beat up, I like to see over 2% move. I like to see it pop up, right? Not always telling me that I'm gonna try to take a position in, but some opportunity. What I said? A ruble contract am I looking at? The Z22. See, the ruble is basically not worth shit. Yeah, pretty bad. Especially this is a far out contract, December 2022. But it's kind of letting me know like, hey, this thing is might need to be looked at. But that's not something I'm gonna be looking at. The Russian currency basically just getting smacked by the whole world right now. We saw them come back down. We saw that response from buyers. Now we're getting back up above that E high. Oh, starting to see a little bit of buying come in. So our next reference to the upside is going to be, and that's where I think if we can get above that 90, there's that 4,200 again or 4,300 again, then possible gap cleanup. Can we do it today? Odds are not very good. That'll be a pretty big move. We'd have to see a pretty sizable increase in volume. Let's go ahead and mark that real quick. Today. What's up, Janet? Oh yeah, definitely, Flipper. I definitely take more momentum trades on Bitcoin than the ES for sure. A lot of the ES trades typically, especially on the upside lately, have been more grinding trades, more melting up trades, right? Slow and steady. Not a lot of drawback, not a lot of pullback on the trades, but they've just been, slowly like boom, they'll pop 2 ticks, or boom, they'll pop 4 ticks, and then they'll just kind of hang out, and then they'll pop another 4 ticks, and then they'll hang out, and then they'll pop another 4 ticks, and they'll hang out. So, but with crypto, especially with Bitcoin, typically when we get on a nice run, it's like, and I actually wish I would have held a little bit more. I took my first take profit at 40K and should have just waited. I didn't think it would get there that fast, to be honest. I thought we would come up to about 41. I thought maybe 40 would be a pausing point. It wasn't. I thought maybe we'd get back here to where this value was at, this previous volume. Really just kind of back tested it and was like, nah, popped up into here. And so the next test is our little bit of balance up here. Only up to that 48K, which is the top of our big balance zone. trading in. We've got a poor high. 200 contracts again traded on the top. Deutsche Bank reports very limited exposure to Russia. The key thing today too, guys, is take a peek at crude and the VIX. You know, like we've talked about, having oil above $100 a barrel. I mean, it's at 112 now. I mean, you can see it's just getting fucking pounded. And it's probably due to the oil release today. There's a oil report that comes out every Wednesday, but and it was actually a beat today. It was actually a bullish thing, but it just wasn't bullish enough. Wasn't what they wanted to see. So you're seeing them just get smacked, and that's fuel for the market. Oil prices coming down is good for the economy, and the market goes up when the economy is doing well. Oh, someone asked, have I ever traded the ZN before? I have traded a couple of bonds. I'm sorry I missed the question, but now I just I have traded some bonds before, but they're I mean, I actually don't mind it. It's just those are more of a swing trade for the most part. These 10 years. Um Drop a little. They also have different hours too. Or I think the bond. Look, I think the bonds open 30 minutes early. No oil. I was still waiting to download the historical data. But with bonds, typically you get a lot of kind of relaxing, and then a move, and relaxing and relaxing. So it tends to help to be a lot more patient, and it's weird how it trades too. It doesn't trade in ticks like the ES does. It typically tends to move when it moves, and so you really just have to position yourself in the right spot. I think every like trades by hundreds or whatever this is. I honestly am not a big trader. I've only traded some of it's just some of the opportunities that's been there. Here goes G period on the ES. Remember our level up is at 90. There. Above that 90 could really start to cover. Or really start to cover. Meta's Sheryl Sandberg said, no two countries run by women would ever go to war. Ooh, oil's getting just smacked right now, guys. Almost at that 90. Look at this. Holy shit. Oil's getting smacked down hard. Over to camel. Fuck is. I was like over here trying to adjust my fucking stop loss. I'm like, almost at that 90, guys. 6 away. I just covered most of my trade right there because yes, Clipper, I have been. I have been using smaller size on Bitcoin lately. I used to, well, it when Bitcoin was ripping up, I was using pretty high leverage. I won't lie. But lately, I really haven't been going above like 5 to, I mean, even 2x, just because of, you know, right now is just not the time for me to lever up, right? Because I'm the way that I trade is I trade for, you know, you know, this year, this month, this century. Like I trade so I don't have to go back to work, and so like yeah, if I hit it big, hitting 100x today, that's gonna be great. But if I hit a loss today, that's 100x. That could prevent me from being able to trade tomorrow, right? And that's just not something I'm willing to give up. So they did finally take that 90. It looked a little bit weak up here, which is why I covered a little bit of it. Only have one lot left. Got my stop right here at 85.50. If I get taken out by that, then look for another opportunity to jump back in. But there is some room up here for this thing to keep running, especially with all of these prints up here. Right, this is pretty weak, weak volume, weak structure. Mainly was just a liquidation, and that's telling you there's a lot of momentum traders that are still short from in here that are probably going to be piling on the opposite side, buying their positions back, especially as we start to spend more time up above that 90. Like I said, I think they said was like 100% of gaps to the upside get filled eventually. I don't know. Market stats. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. It's just something I read somewhere. Amir, these mechanical references showing us traders dominant in today's market. Should we wait to find a momentum trade against them or try to be on the same side? It just depends on who you are, or depends on the type of trader you are, right? If you're a fast trader and you're able to place trades, get in and out quick, and that's what you like to do, then you could, with how mechanical everything's been, it's been fairly easy to scalp a couple of ticks here, a couple of ticks there. Just place your entry order on half back and then buy it and then take 2 ticks. If it goes more, it goes more. But that's not what these guys are focused on. These guys are focused on getting in and getting out. And so it does do us good to identify to get in with some of these momentum traders, but what you have to remember is some of these weaker hands traders have no, especially professional traders that are more on the scalping side or day trading, they have no attachment to the trade, right? Their trade is not an there's no attachment at all. It's just this trade is either going to make money right away or it's going to lose right away, right? So when they buy in on this half back, they've got a finger on the flat button and a tight stop in case it runs through, and they just accept quick loss. So let's say you're looking to take a mechanical trade, you buy in on half back, your stop's here, 2 ticks below, right? And you're only looking for 2 ticks above, so you're at a 1-to-1 or 1-to-1 trade here. And if it doesn't go right away, then you just flatten it, right? And then maybe you lose the $5 round trip. Your commission's that high on there, right? But I don't consider, and you guys know this that know me, I don't consider a break-even trade a losing trade. I consider it good identification, and when I mark my Excel spreadsheet, I mark it in green. I'd mark it in orange if I broke even on the trade and the trade went positive, but if the trade went negative and I broke even on the trade, then I mark that as a win. I was able to identify that the trade wasn't working and get out in a timely manner. I don't think I have a lot of trades that hit my stops. I always trade with a stop because you never know what can happen. But most of the time, when my trade just starts to fail, I'm not going to let it get down to wherever my stop is at. I'm going to close it myself. So, kind of, long answer for where the stops are at. I do use a wider stop on Bitcoin just because the volatility is going to be greater, and then I will use wider stops on the ES. Especially lately, I've been using wider stops on the ES just because of the volatility, right? You don't want to have a set stop that's going to get, let's say it just smacks you, takes you out, and then boom, the trade goes. So on my keyboard, I press Control up, and it moves my stop loss to the, if I'm going long, it'll move it to the bid. So if someone comes down and sells the bid, then I'll be out. If I press Control up, boom, and it'll just start moving all my orders to the bid. Just a hotkey that I set up, and then I also have a hotkey for flatten. But that's on the, I use the Stream Deck for that, so I just have to reach over to I should probably switch it. I could press Control. I think it's Control Alt C on my keyboard if I were to do that, but it's just for me easier just to press a button, a flat button. You can set up, Tommy. You can set up those orders in Ninja Trader too. The hotkeys. But yeah, Amir. So back to your question. Really, it's just going to depend on how or what type of trader you are. If you're good at identifying that, we're seeing a lot of mechanical traders, take advantage of it, right? Especially take advantage of it when it's towards the trend. So you can see that we are starting to one time frame up from this E period, and really we've pretty much been one time framing up besides this little gap here from this little down period in the D session on the open, but or to just peak below the open, I mean, and then just been one time framing up ever since then. So if you identify some mechanical traders on the upside, then wait for a pullback, get long, and then target them, right? And then sell it to them. So let's say if we've got mechanical sellers selling on the 90, we get long, we want to sell it right before the 90 because we know people are going to sell that, right? If we see it getting close to this half back, let's say if it comes down, here to this F open and we see buying, we know those are mechanical buyers, so there's good odds that we're going to dip through, right? So we know that a good buying spot, if we're looking to get long, especially while we're one time framing up, we don't want to be getting short. This would probably be a decent area if it were to come down there to try to try a long position, right? So just stop right here at the F period. That would give us the cessation of one time framing and tell us that the buying is not as strong. I mean, we're definitely overextended, but you've got to take into comparison everything that's going on here. Um, this oil, I mean, oil just went down to $103 a barrel right here. It's, I mean, what's the percentage on this today? It's down 11%. This might be a historic day for oil getting smacked. And when oil goes down, the market goes up. And so it'd be tough. It'd be a tough go here to get that late day liquidation. But I do agree there is a lot of weaker hands traders in the market, but we've got to focus on who's actually participating today, right? A lot of times what happens is big money will position themselves 2 days before this CPI report comes out. So yesterday, right? So yesterday they probably positioned themselves. And if we look at where they're probably positioned, it's probably long, right? Setting that poor low in Globe, or that little bit of excess in Globex, and that late day liquidation to trap a bunch of short sellers. And then today they're just grinding the market up. Um, with a little bit of follow through, but most of this is short covering. We saw this same exact thing yesterday too. We had that big rally, mainly short covering. A lot of momentum traders piled on. They got a little bit too long. A big liquidation. You had a bunch of momentum traders pile on the downside. They got too short. It ripped back up. Same thing happened again, and then the same thing happened one more time to the downside. And you had that late liquidation into the end of the day. So basically, they just kind of ran out of time to kind of figure out what they wanted to do. And I think that was them just taking advantage of all of the news going on yesterday, right? There was a news event that kind of led to that market going up, which was Biden talking about basically giving the middle finger to Russia. And then Putin came on saying, okay, if you guys are going to block me from everything, then you guys can't have any of my shit, and I'm going to keep all your shit. Um, you know, so like all the factories and stuff that shut down in Russia, he's basically told them like, okay, well, all these Nikes are mine now, so and then the market started to pull back, and then we had a big inventory correction for like the last half of the day. So I don't know if I'd say 90%, but there definitely is a good chance. It's just not something that I would start to be jumping on the bandwagon yet. The first sign that we're going to get a liquidation, or we're going to get any opportunity to move to the downside, is to take this G low. Actually, really to take this F low, because we need to stop one time framing before I'll start believing in it. But, and you can see even in this F low, there's only 140 contracts traded down there. So there's not really a lot of competition down here. Nobody's really that interested. Right? Only 21 contracts on the top. We're getting, like I said, above that 90, getting a little bit overextended. If we see buying up here, should start flushing out some people. Can we do some BTC TA? Hell yeah. So let's go from the monthly, where I like to start. Okay. So on Bitcoin on the monthly, you can see we're still inside the previous month's range. And we're starting to build a bit of balance inside, and this is where our balance zone comes from, right? From that previous month in January. February was inside, and right now March is still inside. So we really can't be expecting too much until we are able to break above. That's why my target is at 45,000, just shy of last month's high. But until we start breaking this previous day's range or previous week month's range, that's when we can start seeing a little bit more range extension to the side. I think above that 45,000, we do head up to that 48 and test that. There is some opportunity up here, right? We did have a bit of selling previously. It ripped up, built a little bit of balance, ripped up. So the monthly is not really giving us too much. So let's switch. Sorry, my cat's over here crying about being outside. So we switch to the weekly, and we can see this week we're still inside last week's range. So we're still just forming balance on the weekly. We are higher than the previous low, right? So we made a high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So, it's still, to me, like, I know people are saying it's the end, but it doesn't look like the end yet, right? Looks like it's trying to find a little bit of balance. And we switch to the daily here, and the daily really seems to be stuck. This is that huge balance zone that we're in. But the daily really seems to be stuck in the middle of the range where every time it gets up here to this 45, it gets smacked. And you can see, I mean, previously it was the same way. 45 kept getting smacked around this level. Um, on a more long-term scale, I'm really looking to see it break above this 48, hold, and then start looking to test those highs. What was our all-time high was like? Exact number. And then so from here, and this is something that I do whenever I'm about to trade, right? Monthly, weekly, daily, and then my TPO. And then we turn back onto the TPO where we can see the daily value starting to, and see how um, how value is, or where value is going. And so right here we can see value is slowly shifting to the downside. It shifts back up. We get that capitulation, move back up, and now we've got a good amount of value shifting higher. Right? We have single prints down below us. So what I'm kind of expecting is them to kind of test these single prints, and in order to stay on the long side, um, we want to see some buyers step up and not let these single prints get filled. If this thing just travels back down into this lower balance zone, this is going to tell you a look above and fail. And most times that look above and fail is going to take us to the low of balance, and that's going to be down here at 36. So 40,000, pretty key number. Yeah, Alex, yeah, you could definitely do that. Yeah, just let me know when you want to do it. Nice. Whenever it's clever. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna be getting on, and there be some opportunity. Well, it depends what time you want to get on. But yeah, we can do it tomorrow for sure. If you guys could do me a huge favor and pull up YouTube, like the video. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, does that help? Really, where Bitcoin is at right now is probably one of the more dangerous places to get into a trade. I can see a couple of things probably happening here. We build some value, test these single prints, we see buyers step up, and then we're gonna come up and probably test this balance up here, this value. Um, if we get accepted, that's where that test of that 48 is going to come. If it pops up and gets rejected, it'll come back to here, probably range. If it trades right through these single prints back down into this value, the response will be very key. You want to see a rejection of this lower balance and a return back higher. If it comes back down here and starts to range, then you can almost, be certain that the low balance is probably the course of action there, and the short side will be. But right here, you're in such a spot. You can kind of see, even if as we zoom back, previous balance back here, previous balance back here, and we've kind of seen what's happened every time it's gone up. It's tried to hold, got rejected, gone up, tried to hold, tried it again, got rejected, tried it again, got rejected. Right. So we've got to keep seeing this value shift up. And you can even break this down even farther. If you have EXO charts, you can break it down into hours. I think that you can actually break down brother's profile into, well, I don't know. I think you can. $17. And London is from 1 a.m. Oh, damn it. 30. Uh-oh. 30. X is out of bounds. Oh, there it goes. You can do it. I don't even need fucking EXO charts. But I just have it broke down Asian, London, and the US sessions. Um, so it gives you a little bit easier track of value as the day goes on, just because you know that during the London session, during the Asia session, typically, there's some good action towards the beginning of those, right? Typically every day around 5 p.m. my time, I like to pull up a Bitcoin chart and I like to watch the Asia Open because they normally set the tone for the rest of the night how they're going to trade. And then if there is some opportunity there, you can capitalize on it. If there's not, then waiting. I don't really trade the London session a lot just because it's normally when I do take note of when the London session closes because if I'm trading when that London session closes, I definitely. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, we can just, I mean, you can just come on tomorrow, do you first thing. Yeah, and I mean, also too, like if you guys have trades that you've taken that you'd like to review, this is a great time to review some of these trades. I just saw Leather Faces post. Classic. Oh, that's you. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what your that Simpsons thing's funny, man. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that was you on there on the. It's tough with Discord and remembering Discord names and regular names. That's why I like Zoom because then I get to actually like know the real version. So there we go. A little bit of cessation of one time framing right there, right? This is telling us that there is some sellers in the market. They were able to take that G low. You're seeing a little bit of buying right there off the F half back mechanical. See that? So good odds that we take that out. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely double R if you want to share. More the merrier. Like I said, this is all about, for me, just sharing as much as I can. And the more you guys share, the more we all can learn. So there goes that G low, right? Or that F halfback, I mean. So they were able to clean that up. And now we're looking for that response from the buyers. Yeah, you're gonna have to be. Good choice, really. I think we predicted the future. Constructive criticism, definitely. Oh shit. Doug. We had talked about during G period that if it came back below, to try a possible long from there. So I just took a little quick one below, closed it below that H halfback, so I expected this. So mechanical today. Let's take a peek at the ball. Yeah, still 19% less volume than we're looking at yesterday. So destructive confidence. Some people react better to look, it looks like there's some good buying right here. Let's see. It might be some capitulation here. There might be some shorts or some longs that are just getting ready to just puke this thing out. Where's here, get your short button ready. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, some people are respond better to negative criticism. Like it just depends on the type of person you are. You know what I mean? I had to learn that the hard way. Uh, on that pullback to the top of H. See, so if you're taking a short like that, right? So let's say we're looking to get short. We came right down to that G low or that F half back, I mean, and we saw it kind of pause. It started to bounce up. If you're looking to get short there, stop goes right behind that H half back because you expect more mechanical sellers to try to push this thing down because they know the same things. You know, they know the same things, right? They know where people are going to buy, where people are going to sell. They're professionals, right? So your stop goes here. Your target is just has to be right on the other side of that. So if it comes down, it gets you. And that way, if it comes back, I think I did the opposite. I actually waited for it to break, and then when it broke, I bought it, and then it retraced. I sold, and I'm just leaning more towards long trades. So we take low sellers. You can see them stepping up, right? You can see these buyers step. Mechanical, mean, buyers step up. Now we monitor for continuation. Yeah, I had to learn. I'd have to see it. Alex, you should send me screenshots of your stuff. And that's another thing too, guys. If you guys have if you guys take trades and want me to review them, I mean, I definitely will. I enjoy looking at stuff like that. So yeah, just shoot them to me on Discord or email or whichever is easier. My email's brad@thetradevets.com. And I check it every day. And I'll definitely, maybe not the same exact second, but I'll definitely get back to you. And like I said, any way that I can help, if you think that will help, then let's do it. Oh shit, I forgot to look at. It is getting down a little bit, but not too bad. I would expect a little bit more off that oil, but anyway, it's high. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no one's just gonna let and it really depends on how you come about it too, the criticism. When I first got to Washington, when I was stationed up there working in the hospital, coming from a medic working with the infantry for 6 years, I came to the hospital and I had a soldier that you know wasn't used to the infantry, where in the infantry we get a lot of things done by yelling, right? Like, hey, go do this. Like, no reason. It's just like, yes, hut, 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 hut. Like, Roger, Sergeant, hut, 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 hut. Like, and if you don't do it, or if you give me any attitude or any pushback at all, really, if I don't just hear the next words, Roger, Sergeant, well, then, you're just going to be doing push-ups for a good amount of time. Because in the infantry, you're typically one of two things, and it's either smart or strong, right? The best infantrymen are both, and there is a lot of really smart infantrymen, and a lot of actually not probably, the smartest people in the military are in the infantry. It's a fact. But sometimes people are not capable of both, and when you have to pick, when it comes to a ground soldier, it's smart or strong. And then going to the hospital, I was used to just making everybody really strong, and realized in the hospital that strength is not really that important. And had to learn how to be constructive in a way to teach that was more than just talking at somebody. And so that's why, I try not to tell anybody like, oh, you're a dumbass, or you shouldn't have done that, or anything like that. I really do try to keep the criticism constructive, right? And I always, you know, I always encourage people to let me have it too if I'm wrong. I don't mind it. Chum, I still have Ninja. I've actually kind of migrated to Sierra because I switched to that tent and order routing. So I talked to this guy from the stage 5 trading, and I got like just the lowest commissions that you could get. Just building a relationship with him, and then I emailed him, you know, the past year's trading records, and he can see don't call people dumbass. Actually, that's actually funny. But yeah, so I just built a relationship with him, and so I've been using that tent and order routing to trade through Sierra charts. But I still have Ninja, and if you have any questions on Ninja, I can definitely help you out. You're gonna long BTC at 41K with the 5x leverage. Hope don't go for 50 or 100. Let's see. You're gonna long at 41. See, that's the thing is it's tough to pick a spot like that to be 41, right? So what I would do if I were you is you can see where the Asia session built all this value, right? The point of control is down here 41.5. Add an alert. Right? Now we've got an alert there. So when it gets down to 41.5, boom, something's gonna pop up on my phone and say, hey, Bitcoin's at 41.5. Why don't you pull your chart open and take a peek, right? And then I'm gonna start watching it. So as it creeps down to this 41, and we can see where a little bit of volume came in on the way up, right? As it starts creeping down to this 41, even if it comes down to 45 and starts to hold here, we start to see a good volume build up. That could even be a nice spot to long, but you don't want to just set a 41K and then it could come down, it could hit you, and then it could pop up, right? When your entry might have been a great entry, that 41K, it's just you got in a little bit too early. So the best thing you can do is figure out a way where these alerts are going to get to you. If you have an iPhone, these alerts will pop up on your phone. They pop up right on my phone, right on the front. If you download the TradingView app, which is this, they'll pop right up on your screen. Same with all the other fucking alerts that pop up. My screen has so many alerts on it. It's just stupid. That's why I have to silence it at night. Sierra Charts has TPO. Yeah. Sierra Charts cost money every single month. So I pay $65 a month for MBO, data, and the platform. $57, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. We're looking forward to see. Yeah, 8:30 tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be on 8:30 every single day. That's the new plan, is 8:30 every single day. Because that gives me enough time. I drop my kids off around 7:45, 8 o'clock. That gives me enough time to get home, make a coffee, get all situated and set up, do some quick meditation, get my mind in the right space, and then get on with you guys and start to kill it. Yeah, you have to have a funded account with a broker to get live data. That's a fact. But that stage 5 trading, if you do switch to Sierra, but here's the thing, guys. If you have NinjaTrader and you have the TPO, Sierra Charts is not going to help you be better, right? It's not going to help you make better trades. I simply just got, better commissions. So just commission that were so low that it convinced me to go over. You know what I mean? Like I'm paying almost $2 less per trade now. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it does add up. Should be a fucking tax write-off, honestly. Not. Sierra Charts helps you place orders fast. Oh, if you're scalping, it's probably better. There is certain tools like the DOM on Sierra Charts. You're not gonna get this information on NinjaTrader unless you buy an additional add-on. And I bought an additional add-on from order flow trading or something, whatever the additional add-on for Dom is on there, and it's shit comparatively. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just it's just, and I think I think with NinjaTrader, it is a little bit harder on your GPU. So when I'm running Streamlabs, Zoom, Sierra or NinjaTrader, Thinkorswim, Internet Explorer, Discord, you know, all of these things, my system starts to lag. And since I've switched to Sierra, you know, I've had you know, I'm running all of those things right now and with no hiccups. So, and then some, because I have my iPad over here on the VPN on Bybit, and it's not I'm still not getting any hiccups. The DOM on GoCharting, I actually haven't looked at it, to be honest with you. I'd have to take a peek at it. I wonder if Chappies has done a review on it. He was doing a bunch of videos for a while. So yeah, I'll show you. This is what I like about this DOM on Sierra charts. So we can see these are resting orders in the blue, right? These are resting orders in the red. So orders that haven't been executed. These blue and red orders here, this shows us orders executed on the bid. This shows us orders executed on the ask. And then there's a delay that keeps them there. So you can see these orders executed up there. We had a 38 lot order up there, or 38 trades on that level. And they're kind of just sitting up there. No trades on the bid. So it just moved down and moved away, right? This is the pulling and stacking column. So this is telling you if people are moving up or if it's a negative number, right? See that negative? That's telling you people are moving down. This is just a volume profile, and you can kind of see I've linked this volume profile with this volume profile. So it'll show us blue and white and red where the high volumes are at, right? Doesn't really do anything to me or for me. The only thing that I like to see is when we make a new high or a low is I can see that this thing traded 21 contracts on the top. It says 21 here as well. You can see the next one says 93 and this one says 359. That's why I like this, because of the volatility. I have my TPO on 2 ticks. Right here I can get a little bit more exact. And then over here I just have a trade on the bid, trade on the ask, by like a dual volume profile, and it's just so I can see things like this, right? You can start to see where it gets fat, and where it got fat was on the ask side. So we had a lot of people buying the ask at 42.60. I come over to here, 42.60 happens to be, you know, the point of control, and you can see just how much buying happened there. 22,000 compared to, there's not much volume anywhere else comparatively, right? We've had a little bit of volume starting to move up, but nothing really too crazy. But that's it. I mean, like, yeah, I don't think the DOM is the pulling and stacking is cool, but it's not really that useful, to be honest with you. Like, it's just not. And honestly, I think a lot of these tools are you know, designed to give you that red ruby moment. I'll tell you what I use this for 100%, is to watch this column right here. This is pretty much the only column I look at. I really don't look at the price. I could honestly care less about how many people are resting orders. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's nice to see sometimes, yeah, okay, there's 147 lot up there, or 147 lots up here. You know, so that's where the liquidity is at. Down below, we don't see any liquidity, right? Those are just quick glances. But I'm looking to see, as we're trading up, right? As we're trading up, are we getting some people smacking the ask? We're getting some people buying the ask, right? All these one lots hitting the ask, that's not really great news for me. I want to see some 25 lots, some 12 lots, 22 lots, 11, 15, or 14, 16, right? I want to see those lots stepping up to buy, and that's just going to give me a little bit more confidence to hang out in my trade. But I don't think it's something that well, I know for sure that it's not something that I would need to be successful. Just a personal preference thing. Yep. Like oh, you keep it zoomed in. Yeah. Yeah, because then you can really see the orders move around. All right, guys. Well, if there is no more questions, I didn't even realize it's already 10:30. I'm gonna get a workout in and then grab some lunch. And then today's minimum day, so I can pick up the kids. We'll probably head to the park and something fun. It's 80 degrees here, so spend a lot of time watching big orders come and go and zoomed out. Yeah, and it's just that's the thing is like if there's a big resting order, let's say like if you've got this big resting order up here that's like 2,000 lots, what is that what is that doing for you down here? Nothing, right? Except for scaring people that want to get long, that are smart, that oh there's a big seller up here, so I don't want to get long. But in reality, the market moves to and through liquidity. So if there's 2,000 contracts up here, the market naturally is curious, right? This is like an oven burner. I don't know how you guys oven burners look, but mine are kind of like this, where, but naturally they want to touch it. Ooh, is that hot? Oh shit, right? And if it's hot, they're like ah. But if it's not, they're like ooh, perfect. I needed that. Exactly. Yeah. Watch how it trades. If it's a real 2,000 lot, it'll actually trade. And you can see how it trades on the dawn. Gives you a little bit more um intraday. All right, yeah, you guys have a great day as well. Last question. Short BTC now 5x leverage? I wouldn't. That would not be a trade for me. I'm in a long right now still, so I still want it to go up. I don't want it to pull back at all. I just assume that it's probably gonna, and then I'm hoping for a retest, but there's no way to know for sure what's gonna happen. I'll protect myself if we get some downside. Um, but I'm still thinking that if we can get above this 43, that 45 is the next target up. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for everyone for popping into the stream. Thank you for liking the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. For those of you guys that are in the Discord, look for the trade view. It'll be out some point tonight after the market's open. I know it took a little while last night, but I got distracted. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys later.